Racona immediately replied that he just needed to name a number. Arcus crossed his fingers and with slight sadness looked away, saying that if he asked too much, the Viscount simply would not be able to cope. At this point Racona was leaning his head on the floor when he was asked to send as much as possible. Then Racona, sweating and convulsive, raised his gaze. He saw Arcus looking down at him with a haughty air, saying that it would not affect their friendship in a negative way. He immediately stood there, open-mouthed and excited. At this point, the Viscount climbed onto his horse while the new Count was watching. At this point, Arcus watched from the window as the Viscount fell off his horse. At this point, Arcus stood with a thoughtful look, his head down, because he had never threatened a living soul in his life and he felt lousy. Racona stretched out his shaking hands to the horse. Arcus smiled maliciously, noting that he felt so wonderful. Bayern bowed before the protagonist, saying that the settlement of residents in the apartment complex Gold Mine 101 and Gold Mine 102 was completed. The system notified that he had a new achievement. He commanded the construction of the apartment complex and was able to settle residents of the continent of Laurasia, bonus RP 700, the amount of RP 4783. The protagonist smiled maliciously, noting that he had sown the seeds and it was time to reap the fruits. Gray smoke came out of the chimneys in the houses. There was a tray with food on the table. The woman noted that there was even meat and warm bread. The boy thanked him for the food. The brunette looked at the man, inviting him to the table to eat with them. The man said that they should eat themselves since he had no appetite. The brown-haired man furrowed his brows, thinking that he was certainly grateful for everything, but in the past he worked tirelessly on the farm for his family, but now he can only rely on others. The man pressed his lips together, wondering how long he could live like this. The brown-haired man looked behind him when he heard the villagers calling out to Mr. Lloyd. The young master was waving his hand at the villagers. The man thanked the brown-haired man, asking how they could repay him for his kindness. Lloyd said that they shouldn't, asking if they were doing well. The villagers said that he saved their lives, thanking him for that. The old woman approached the protagonist,